A single piece of metal, smaller than a fingertip, holds about as much energy as a ton of coal. We bury it inside thick steel, surround it with water, and let it warm an entire city. Nothing burns here. There is no flame, just atoms breaking apart, one after another, in a chain we hold on a knife's edge. Tonight we slice a nuclear reactor open and follow the energy all the way from a tiny pellet to the light in your room. It starts with uranium. Miners pull it from rock, and engineers press it into small ceramic pellets, each about the size of a pencil eraser. The pellets are stacked inside long metal tubes and sealed tight. Bundle those tubes together, and you get a fuel assembly. Hundreds of these stand upright in the reactor core, quiet and cold. One pellet sounds harmless, but packed inside is a special kind of atom that is willing to break apart if the right thing comes along to nudge it. That nudge is a neutron, a tiny particle with no charge. When a slow neutron strikes the right uranium atom, the atom can no longer hold itself together. It splits in two. This splitting is called fission. In that instant, a sliver of the atom's mass turns into pure energy, mostly heat, and the broken atom throws out 2 or 3 fresh neutrons of its own. So one split does not just release heat. It hands you the very things you need to cause the next split. Now follow those loose neutrons. Each one can find another uranium atom and split it, releasing more heat and even more neutrons. 1 becomes 2, 2 become 4, 4 become 8. This is a chain reaction, and left alone it would race out of control in a heartbeat. The real trick of a reactor is not starting this chain. The trick is taming it, holding it at a steady walk, where exactly 1 neutron from each split goes on to cause just 1 more. To hold that balance, the reactor uses control rods. These are slender rods made of materials like boron or cadmium that are hungry for neutrons. Lower them into the core, and they soak up the wandering neutrons before they can split anything. The chain slows down, lift the rods a little, and more neutrons survive, so the chain speeds back up. Operators slide them up and down like a dimmer switch, keeping the reaction steady hour after hour, year after year. There is one more catch. The neutrons born in fission fly out far too fast to split the next atom cleanly. They need slowing down. That job belongs to the moderator, which in most reactors is ordinary water. As the racing neutrons bounce through the water, they bump into its molecules and lose speed, like a marble rolling through sand. Slowed to a gentle crawl, they are now perfect for the next split. Water, it turns out, helps keep the whole chain alive. All those splits add up to one thing: heat, and a great deal of it. The core can reach more than 300 degrees Celsius. Water is pumped through it under enormous pressure, so high that the water stays liquid even when it is far past boiling. This pressurized water flows around the hot fuel, drinking in the heat, then carries it away through thick pipes. The water that actually touches the core never leaves this sealed loop. It is the reactor's bloodstream. That hot, pressurized water travels to a steam generator. Inside sits a maze of thin tubes, and the radioactive water from the core runs through them, but never mixes with anything outside. Around those tubes flows a second separate supply of clean water. Heat passes straight through the tube walls from the first loop into the second, and that clean water flashes into steam. Now the energy has crossed a wall. It has left the dangerous side and moved over to a safe one. The steam rushes forward with real force, and it is aimed straight at a turbine. A turbine is a long shaft lined with hundreds of curved blades, like a windmill built for steam. The pressure slams into the blades and spins the shaft faster and faster, thousands of turns every minute. Here, the story quietly changes shape. The energy that began as splitting atoms, then became heat, then became steam, has now become motion, a heavy steel shaft whirling in the dark. The spinning shaft runs straight into a generator. Inside, giant coils of copper wire sit wrapped around a core, and powerful magnets ride on the turning shaft. As the magnets sweep past the wire, they push the electrons in that wire into motion. Moving electrons are simply electric current. Spin the magnets fast enough, and the current pours out, ready to travel down the lines. This is the moment the whole reactor has been building toward. Heat finally turned into electricity. But the steam still has work left to do. After it leaves the turbine, it flows into a condenser, where cool water from a river, lake, or tower chills it back into liquid. Squeezing it back to water makes room for fresh steam and keeps the cycle pulling. The leftover heat drifts up those giant cooling towers as harmless white vapor. The water itself is pumped back toward the steam generator, and the whole loop begins again, around and around. So trace the whole path. A neutron splits a uranium atom, releasing heat. A chain reaction keeps it going, while control rods hold it steady and water slows the neutrons just enough. Pressurized water carries the heat to a steam generator, which boils a separate loop into steam. The steam spins a turbine, the turbine spins a generator, and the generator makes electricity. Then a condenser cools the steam back into water, and the cycle repeats. Atom to outlet, step by step. No fire, no smoke, just atoms breaking apart in a careful, balanced dance, kept on a knife's edge by water and a handful of rods. The next time the lights flick on, picture that single pellet, smaller than your fingertip, quietly handing its energy down the line through steam and steel all the way to you. That is a nuclear reactor sliced open. We will see you in the next one.